Hello beautiful people and welcome to another video. In this one I'll be working on this console table that I found by someone's bins. I couldn't find the label, but it looked like a very popular stag minstrel piece that someone painted white. So this is pretty annoying, but this is how this furniture is made. So this is mostly pressed wood with just the border made of solid wood, and the same goes for the sides. I need to fix this hole. I basically just pulled this screw out because it was made from cheap materials and it gets stripped in the process and I couldn't get it out. I'm going to glue a small dowel inside and clamp this together to give it some strength because I'm a professional. This looks like a fairly straightforward job. There are only two pieces, so this should be pretty simple. I'm gonna put quite a lot of glue on because this is a mix of solid wood and chipboard, so I just wanted to have the best chance it can get of staying together. And in case you haven't figured out, I'm talking about this piece that was broken off. Unlike the rest of this console table, the base was made from solid mahogany or sapele, I can't really tell, so I was able to just sand it. Fortunately, most of the surfaces were pretty flat, so it was an easy job. Most of the surfaces, but not all of them. Because of the shape of this decorative edge, it's a bit of a pain to clean this or sand it without changing the shape of it. So I'm going to use this bit, which is exactly the same shape, and I'll just redo this entire decorative edge. To be honest, it wasn't even close to the shape, so doesn't matter. Now that the top is dry, I can start removing the paint and start working on the veneer. Because I didn't really know what it looked like underneath, I decided to use a paint stripper just to be on the safe side. It was a cold day and I was doing this outside, so to give this paint stripper the best chance of getting this paint off, I covered it with plastic. And as per usual, Mando couldn't care less. It's a bit of a shame that this isn't the same color as this, because I'll need to stain it, otherwise it's just gonna look odd. I left the paint stripper to do its job and I went back inside to start working on the back panel. I'm going to cover all the holes from the staples and also the dents that I made trying to pull them out because it just isn't looking great. And after about 30 minutes I used a putty knife to remove the paint. I'm just deactivating the stripper so I can sand it when it's dry. Actually, someone sanded through the veneer. I think this is why they painted it. There goes the idea of saving this veneer, which is a shame. So it looks like someone tried to restore this. They sanded through the veneer because they thought it was solid wood as it is around it. So I'm not even gonna bother. I just need to sand this whole thing and change the veneer because you can't fix this. That is a bummer. And it looks like, yep, there's another one. Oh well, at least someone gave it a try. No saving this one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they just completely ruin it. So it's a good thing I've got a plan B. I like the fact that there is a piece of trim around this veneered area, which will give me a nice edge when I apply the veneer, so that's a bonus, I guess. Fortunately, I had a large leftover piece of sapili veneer, so I was able to use it on the top. To attach the veneer to the substrate, I used spray contact adhesive and then I pressed it down to make sure it was adhered properly. And then I removed most of the excess veneer just so I could see where I need to cut it. When the wood filler was dry, I sanded the back panel and I stained it. And then I used an oil-based minwax stain that, based on the price, must be made from gold or something. These are the side panels and I need to remove the paint, and because they're missing bits of veneer underneath, I'll just need to see what it looks like and decide what I'm gonna do next. Or at least I thought so. This cleaned up very nicely and I'll be able to keep it as it is. I'm afraid it isn't the case with this panel. Oh wow, the veneer is actually okay. Someone just did a terrible paint job and it looked like there was a hole underneath. So I think I can actually save both of these. I don't want to risk damaging this veneer, so I'm going to use acetone and remove most of the varnish before I do any sanding. And just like that, the varnish is gone. Now because the varnish is gone, I can use 180 grit just to lightly sand it and make it this color. There's just a tiny bit of damage in the corners, but it won't even be visible because this is the back of the panel and I can just touch it up. And as you can see, this new veneer that I put on the top is a bit lighter than this one because this is old. So I'm going to use oxalic acid to bleach it a little bit and get it closer to this look. I don't want to saturate it too much because this is pressed wood and it will swell from moisture. So I'm gonna be careful and I'll stay away from the edges. These panels are not the same color anyway, so I'll need to address that. There were those old metal slider thingies, so I removed them because they can scratch the floor. The panels are dry. I'm going to wipe them with water just to deactivate the oxalic acid. And again, I need to be careful because this is pressed wood, so I don't want it to swell. Sanding, or at least cleaning the inside that you can't even see, is definitely not necessary, but I guess it's unprofessional if you don't do it. And because there were still some bits of white paint stuck in those hard to reach areas, I pulled out my dental kit. It's finally time to deal with the drawers, and as you can see, they're not in a great condition. These look oily, the stains. I can see that these are stapled in, but I think they're also glued in, but I'm gonna give it a go because otherwise it's gonna be very difficult to clean them. I think they're not glued. Oh wow, this is great. It's gonna make the whole process so much easier. I'm definitely not keeping these. See if I can clean this up. Wow, this one really put up a fight. Oh no! Surprise, surprise. This is chipboard as well. This is not good. I thought I would be able to just sand this, and it looks like someone just sanded the corners and sanded through the veneer, so that is really bad. See, I barely touched it, and it looks like the reason someone painted this is because they tried to restore it or fix it, and they just went through the veneer in many places. So because I know that someone destroyed the veneer already, I'm not even gonna try to save it because I know it's too late, so I'll just sand this off. Cheating bastards, look how they made this. So they just combined the pressed wood with little bits of mahogany, but yeah, that's just so annoying. I need to rethink my plan again. So now I've got a dilemma because I don't know if I want to replace this with mahogany veneer or sapili, because I could do it, I do have some, but it's a bit of a boring look, and because this isn't solid wood, it kind of gives me options to do something else with it. I even thought about painting this for a change because I don't normally do it, or replacing this with a different type of veneer because I do have some leftovers. I've been thinking about it for nearly 2 days now. And just to make it clear, I do realize that you can use MDF as the middle panel for stability and to prevent warping. But the most likely scenario is that someone used it just to save money.
$2,000 later.
When I was finally done sanding the drawer bottoms, I decided to do something about the drawer fronts. I basically gave them a slightly different shape and at the same time got rid of the paint. Even though the drawer bottoms cleaned out nicely, there were still some imperfections in some of them, so I decided to stain them with Jacobean stain. I'm just cleaning this with mineral spirit, and as you can see, even the mahogany that they use for the frame of this drawer face has different colors, so I will need to stain it because otherwise it's just gonna look a bit odd. So after thinking about it for about 2 days, I think I finally have a solution for the drawer fronts. And this is what I'm gonna do. I've got some timber and I'm going to make my own trim pieces and put them on the fronts of the drawers. I got them at a very good price from my local supplier, but unfortunately they were not the same size. And I think I've got the perfect wood species for this. This is called African teak. And I think this is just the perfect match for this type of furniture. This is hardwood species. And I'm gonna wear a mask because this can cause irritation of the eyes and respiratory tract. And as you can see, to get them to the same size, I use my thicknesser. Alright, I've got my mass production set up for the trim, and the idea is to use the router table to create the shape that I want and then cut it off from this piece of wood using table saw and then just keep repeating it until I get enough trim for all the drawers. To make sure that this is as precise as possible, I've got this feather board or whatever you call this that will basically push it against the fence and make sure that the cut is straight. And then once I'm done with this, the situation is similar. I've got this feather board that will basically push this piece against the fence and make sure that I've got a nice and straight cut. I've got all the trim made, now I just need to sand it a little bit and I can put it on the drawers. If you didn't skip through this video and still watching, thank you, I appreciate it. And as always, thank you so much for watching my videos, liking, commenting, it means a lot. And a special shout out to the channel members, you guys are the best. If you enjoy my content and would like to support what I do, you can visit the links in the description of this video or simply hit the super thanks. Thank you. I think that's gonna take a while. Wow, it's been a while, but I finally have a solution for the drawer front, and this is what I'm going to do. This is not glued yet, but I'm going to attach these pieces of trim. I have thought about doing this vertically, but I think this is just what most people do. I think I like this solution because it's a bit more elegant. Now that I've got all the trim pieces cut, I can do some staining. And here's my plan. I don't want a huge contrast between the darkest color on this piece and the lightest one, so I'm actually going to add an additional color to help with the transition, and it will go from like a reddish brown to a brownish red to the natural Iroko, which has some red and brown in it as well. It will all make sense when you see the final piece. I purposely didn't want to change the main color of this piece just because I wanted to keep it true to its original color, which I imagine was something like this, and because there's just too much brown and walnut and it's just not very creative. I feel like there's always that moment where you kind of break through and work just flows. In this case, it took a bit long before that happened, and I just couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do. But I think I'm pretty happy with my choices. The last decision I need to make is for the trim pieces that I made. Do I want to stain them? Do I want to keep them natural? I just don't want too much going on, but I also don't want it to be boring. We'll see, but I'm definitely getting there. Once I'm done staining the drawers, I just need to put the bottoms in and just put everything together and put the top coat on, and Bob's your uncle. I've stained a few different colors just to kind of see which one would work best, and I've got no idea. This is what it looks like if I don't do anything with it, and there are some reds in this Iroko wood, and I kind of like it natural. This is what I'm thinking. I've got this raw transparent hard wax oil which has a little bit of white tint, and it's perfect for light color wood. I'm putting tape on the back of each piece so the oil doesn't get on it because I'll need to glue them tomorrow, and this is a bit of extra work, but I think it will be worth it. I'm just gonna let this soak in and I'll wipe it off in a minute. I'm just going to wipe the excess hard wax oil, take off the tape, and I'll leave it overnight to dry. And just so you can see, this is raw wood. I haven't done anything with this, and this is with hard wax oil. And because I'm fancy AF, as you know by now, I'm gonna use brass nails to attach the drawer bottoms. I'm going to use slightly thicker screws, and these are pocket screws, so they're not going to sink into the MDF, which is important. because obviously I need to glue these down and I want them to be straight. I'm gonna put them exactly where I want them, and then I'll clamp the top one in place, glue the middle one, and then it will be easy to glue the top one and the bottom one. Obviously this is decorative, so it doesn't need to be extremely strong, but you don't want it to fall off. And I'm leaving spaces for super glue because this is what is going to hold it in place until the wood glue dries. All right, we've got the first one done. Only 5 more to go. I engraved my logo on the bottom of one of the drawers, and I was ready to put the top coat on. And this is Osmo hard wax oil as well, but unlike the one on the trim pieces, this one doesn't have any white tinter in it. Because I'm doing this outside, you can see all those shades of amber and brown and red, how they're gonna go together with the drawer fronts and those trim pieces. I've gotta tell you, I knew this piece had a potential, but I didn't think it could look this good. I think this took me the longest to decide. I put 6 different handles on 6 drawers and I could not figure out which one was the best, so I decided to make my own. I actually found these, which I never seem to like for any other project. They're not all the same color, even though they came in the same box. So I'm gonna clean them and paint them. I've got a pretty crazy idea. I think I'm gonna use lacquer toner on top of this. I don't know, I haven't done this before, but let's give it a go. I need to put lacquer on these, but I think this color is pretty cool because it matches the wood really nicely. I call this metallic mahogany, which I think is the coolest color I've ever been able to mix. And this is bronze, gold, a little bit of walnut lacquer toner, some mahogany lacquer toner, and satin lacquer. It in person looks like wood, which is just crazy. I wouldn't be able to make this from wood because it wouldn't be strong enough. So this way it's actually strong. It's got very cool shape that works with this piece, and it kind of looks like wood. I'm gonna put another coat of oil on top so it will be more shiny, but look how close the color is. I'm going to install these modern sliders. They have felt on the bottom so they won't scratch the floor. I'm over the moon with the results of this project. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think about my decisions. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.